video, I'm going to give you a few examples of general quotes you could work into your pieces on Whose Reality, as well as some ideas you might like to explore in relation to the context. If Whose Reality isn't your context, or you haven't yet watched our general video on Whose Reality yet, stop. Go watch that first and then come back. For those of you still left, this video is relevant to you regardless of what text you study or what type of piece you are writing. Quotes can show off to the assessor that you're widely read and have thought about the application of your context in the wider world. You can work them in pretty much anywhere in your essay, so long as they are appropriate and related to the prompt you are discussing. In this video, I'll give you a few examples, talk you through what type of prompts they're relevant to, and give you an idea of what related wider world issues you might want to explore as a means of broadening your discussions. Alright, on to some quotes. There is an objective reality out there, but we view it through the spectacles of our beliefs, attitudes and values. David G. Myers, Social Psychology. This quote pretty obviously relates to the notion that perception of reality is fundamentally subjective. Myers is suggesting that the objective reality which exists is beyond the sight of any individual, that instead our perception is informed by all of the experiences we've had up until this point in time. In short, this quote is appropriate for when you're writing about subjectivity versus objectivity, or the ways in which our perceptions of reality are formed. A great extension of this is to think about the ways in which your subjective reality has been formed, and the same for those around you. Consider the contrasting perspective towards people of different religions and beliefs towards a funeral, or responses to landscape by people of different cultural backgrounds. Considering and exploring the way responses differ shows a strong understanding of this topic. Some other quotes that explore that same idea include, "There are no facts, only interpretations." Friedrich Nietzsche, philosopher. "Nothing exists except atoms and empty space. Everything else is opinion." Democritus. "The human understanding is like a false mirror, which, receiving rays irregularly, distorts and discolours the nature of things by mingling its own nature with it." Francis Bacon. Alright, let's take a look at a quote that relates to a different big idea. "Humankind cannot bear very much reality." T.S. Eliot. This quote is the starting point for a discussion of the creation of alternative realities. One of the reasons that a person might create an alternative or false reality is because the reality they were faced with to start with was too much to bear. Consider the ways in which reality is difficult to bear, the disappointments, the trauma. Even if you aren't experiencing hardship on a day-to-day basis, you are bombarded with those hardships through the media. Sometimes it's hard to look at that reality and just accept it as it is. A way to extend this idea is to consider the realities that individuals might be subjected to that they can't escape from. Alternative realities are a big part of Foe, Death of the Salesman and Wag the Dog. But consider the people in our society who might be motivated to create false realities. This is not just the results of mental illness or drugs, but the little lies we tell ourselves to make the world around us bearable. Then think about the individuals who can't maintain these little self-kindnesses, such as those subjected to violence or who are incarcerated. Their imagination is very much limited by circumstance. Some other quotes that deal with this idea include, "Illusion is the first of all pleasures," Voltaire. "There is a fine line between dreams and reality. It's up to you to draw it," B. Quilliam. On to one more big idea through a quote. "Anyone who can handle a needle convincingly can make us see a thread which is not there." E. H. Gombrich, Art and Illusion. This quote is referring to the capacity of individuals to create realities for others. All four of the texts engage with this idea, generally through the idea of the media and its communication of tainted information. The notion you need to get your head around here is that if we each filter the world through our subjective perspective, any information we pass on is tainted by that filtering. For example, my political persuasion and my cultural beliefs are going to inform the way I tell you about how the government is changing a particular law. Even if we try to limit this bias, it's human nature to be constrained by our worldview. To expand on this idea, think about where information comes from and who controls it. Is it a problem that almost all media outlets in Australia are owned by the same three families? How about that straight, white, tertiary educated men are disproportionately represented in politics? What about the amount of power that individuals who own advertising companies hold over our perception of beauty and success? I hope this has given you some insight into the types of quotes that work well to be incorporated into your work. Help yourself out by reading widely and having a solid understanding of the big ideas that Whose Reality prompts relate to. Thanks for watching, and make sure to check out our many other videos on Whose Reality and your specific texts. Catch you next time.